Welcome, dreamers, to another journey into the surreal and sinister. Tonight, we dive into the first story in our experimental medication series. Meet Tyler, a sleep-deprived college student desperate for rest. When he stumbles upon a sleep study promising relief, it seems like a dream come true. But dreams, as you know, often have a way of turning into nightmares. What happens when the cure becomes far worse than the ailment? Before we begin, we need you to help shape our dreamscapes. Each week, we explore new themes from the shadowy corners of the subconscious. Share your suggestion for future themes in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a trip into the unknown. As you know, we post nightly at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your ticket to the dark side of dreams awaits. Now, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let's step into the nightmare together. I don't know why I stopped that day. The community bulletin board outside the student union is usually just a mess of band flyers, lost cat posters, and advertisements for yoga classes. But something about the bright red sheet caught my eye. Maybe it was the headline, bold and simple. Trouble sleeping? Participate in a sleep study and get paid. Trouble sleeping? Understatement of the century. My insomnia had gotten so bad that even coffee couldn't help me function anymore. I'd been drifting through my classes like a ghost, not even sure if I'd passed my last midterm or just hallucinated the whole thing. So yeah, I grabbed the tear-off slip with the number before I even realized what I was doing. The call was quick. A woman with a soft, clinical voice asked me a few questions. Basic stuff at first. Did I have any allergies, medical conditions? But then the questions started getting strange.
Do you ever dream while you're awake?
No, I said, unsure.
Have you ever felt like someone was watching you when you were alone?
I laughed nervously. Isn't that kind of normal? Like when you're walking at home at night or something? Her silence on the other end stretched just a little too long.
When you're alone in your room,
she clarified. That gave me a chill. No, not really. She asked a few more weird ones. If I'd ever woken up to find myself unable to move. If I'd ever heard a voice call my name when no one was there. I didn't know if they were screening for mental health issues or trying to freak me out. Maybe both. But in the end, she told me I was in.
Just come to the lab tomorrow at 2 p.m. for a quick psych evaluation,
she said. I hung up, already second-guessing the whole thing. But what did I have to lose? The lab was in a squat, nondescript building a few blocks from campus. Inside, the air smelled faintly of antiseptic and something sweeter, almost floral. The receptionist led me to a room where a man in a white coat awaited. He was tall, with glasses that caught the fluorescent light at odd angles, hiding his eyes. His smile felt pasted on, like a mask.
Tyler, is it?
He said, gesturing for me to sit. The psych eval was more of the same. Questions that danced between clinical and getting creepy.
Do you believe your dreams mean something?
I guess. Isn't that what Freud thought?
Do you think you're more alive in your dreams or in your waking life?
I'm not sure I even feel alive when I'm awake, I joked. He didn't laugh. Finally, he handed me a consent form.
The medication is experimental,
He said, like I hadn't already guessed that.
but we've had promising results. It should help you sleep and dream.
Dream. That word sat heavy in my mind as I signed the form. The first week was a revelation. 1 pill every night before bed. Within 30 minutes, I'd sink into the kind of deep, velvety sleep I hadn't had in years. No tossing, no turning, no staring at the ceiling until dawn. And the dreams, they were vivid, almost hyper-real. At first, they were mundane, walking through a park, sitting in an empty diner. But by the third night, they started to shift. Colors were brighter, sounds sharper. I could smell the grease on the diner's grill, feel the grit of dirt under my shoes in the park. When I told the doctor about it during my weekly check-in, he seemed pleased.
That's excellent progress.
He said,
You might even try lucid dreaming.
lucid dreaming? He explained the concept like a teacher giving a favorite lecture.
It's when you become aware that you're dreaming and can control the dream. Many people use triggers like imagining a red ball to remind themselves that they're dreaming. Once you realize it, you can shape the dream however you want.
Shape the dream. The idea stuck with me. By the fourth week, I was a god in my own mind. I flew over mountains, conjured entire cities from nothing, fought monsters straight out of the games I used to play as a kid. Every night, I looked forward to sleep more than anything else. That's when they told me the experiment was ending.
You've made excellent progress.
The doctor said, his masked smile unchanged.
But we'd like to offer you one final task, a more advanced experiment.
I hesitated. The thought of losing the dreams, of going back to my restless, zombified state, it terrified me. What's the task?
We'll explain tonight.
He said. That night, I found myself in a small room with 3 others. A wiry man with a scar that carved a jagged line down his cheek. A heavy-set man whose eyes darted like a cornered animal. And a woman with sleek black hair and a blank expression. None of us spoke a word. The doctors handed each of us a phonograph.
Study this carefully.
They said,
You must remember every detail. Do not discuss your image with anyone else.
My photo was of a warehouse, its vast emptiness broken only by a massive window. A blood-red light spilled through the glass, turning everything inside into murky shadows. On the floor, just beneath the window, lay a tomahawk axe. That night, I take the pill, clutching the photograph like a lifeline. The warehouse is burned into my mind. The towering window, the eerie red glow. The tomahawk, its blade dark with something I can't quite make out. As sleep takes me, I focus on the image, willing it into my dream. When I open my eyes, I'm standing in that warehouse. The air is heavy, thick with a metallic tang that clings to the back of my throat. The red light from the windows casts long, wavering shadows that seem to move when I'm not looking. And there, just like in the photo, is the tomahawk. I pick it up, the handle cool and solid in my hand. It feels heavier than I expected, the blade wickedly sharp. The weight of it gives me an odd sense of comfort, something to hold on to in this strange, oppressive space. A noise behind me makes me whirl around, my heart pounding. It's the man with the scar. He's standing a few yards away, his expression unreadable. He doesn't say anything, just watches me with his eyes that glint like a predator's. Then, one by one, the others appear. The heavy-set man is next, shivering despite the stifling air. The woman arrives last, her blank expression unchanged. We stand there in silence, four strangers in a dream that feels far too real.
What the hell is this?
The heavy-set man mutters, his voice trembling. Before anyone can answer, the man with the scar moves. He doesn't walk, he lunges, and in his hand is a mace that wasn't there a moment ago. The heavy-set man barely has time to scream before the mace comes down with a sickening crunch. I freeze, every instinct screaming at me to wake up. This isn't real. This can't be real. But the blood pooling on the floor says otherwise. The woman gasps, backing away, and something snaps inside me. Without thinking, I imagine the tomahawk. It's already in my hand, the blade gleaming in the crimson light.
Stay back!
I shout, holding the weapon between me and the scarred man. He smiles, a slow, deliberate curl of his lips that sends a chill down my spine. The woman is behind me, trembling, her breath shallow. I take a step back, trying to shield her, but the pain hits me like a lightning strike. I look down and see the blade of a sai buried in my side. The woman pulls it free, and for an instant, I wake up. I'm in my bed, gasping for air, clutching at the searing pain in my ribs. My hand comes away slick with blood, real blood. Before I can process it, I'm yanked back into the dream. The woman stands over me, her sai dripping red. She raises it again, but I react before she can strike. The tomahawk moves almost on its own, cleaving through her face with a horrible, wet sound. She collapses to the ground, her body twitching as blood pools around her. I stagger back, trying to pull the tomahawk free, but it's lodged deep in her face. The scarred man is closing in, his mace raised high. I brace myself, knowing I can't dodge him in time. And then, I wake again. This time, for real. The sheets are soaked with blood. My blood. I can barely breathe as I fumble for my phone, dialing 911 with trembling fingers. The ambulance ride is a blur. The paramedics are talking, but their words barely register until one phrase cuts me through the fog.
Busy night. That woman with her face split open, and the guy with the crushed skull? I've never seen anything like it.
My stomach lurches. No, it's not possible. But the blood on my hands, the tomahawk's weight still imprinted in my grip, and all says otherwise. At the hospital, the doctors try to put me under.
We need to operate,
They say.
You've lost a lot of blood.
I beg for them not to. You don't understand, I gasp. I can't sleep. I can't. Weeks pass. The wounds heal, but I don't. I'm back to where I started. Maybe worse. Insomnia has its claws in me again. But this time, it's not the sleeplessness that scares me. It's the thought of what might happen if I do sleep. When I close my eyes, I see the warehouse, the red light, the scarred man, his mace dripping. And somewhere, deep down, I know it's not over. I don't know if I'll ever sleep again.